Can everybody sit next to me? I don't want to be lonely around here myself. Wow. Where should I start? I think when Suleiman told me about this, that it would be a lecture, or how should I call it, a presentation. I thought, well, maybe I'm not the right person to do that because I'm not that knowledgeable at all. So I kind of circumvented a little bit and have my own thing. The way I would call it is conversation with the youth, with the African youth. And don't get me wrong, I'm still young. So I'm still on the other side of the fence, like with you guys. I should say that it is both a pleasure and an honor for me to be here. And I'll tell you the reason why. It is a pleasure because I like to serve. I honestly like to serve. When he started saying that, I said, hey man, this guy is taking my line. I don't know anything else to say after him. But honestly, it is something that I truly believe. I believe that the secret of success is in serving. So I'll spend most of my free time trying to mentor, not that I know a lot, but I would like to share the little that I know. So I spend a great deal of my time trying to talk to people, trying to, share with them the little that I gather through the years. Now, maybe I should start by telling you a little bit about myself. I'm originally from Senegal, West Africa, same place as Bamba, same place as St. Khadim. I came to the US, I think it was in 2000. Before I studied at Cheikh Anta Diop University, where I did get a BA in English and a master's degree in African American literature. I did also study international business. So when I came here, I studied as a French teacher at a high school in Kansas City, Missouri, which I did for about a year or so, and just realized that it was not my thing. Not because that I didn't like teaching, I love teaching, but it was just completely different from what I knew back in Africa and what was happening in the high schools here. I kind of sensed that it was just like babysitting, so to speak, because honestly, it was just completely different. When I attended the first orientation at the school, right at the end, I was like, what are we doing here? Because we were not allowed to do anything at all. They will tell you, don't touch, don't do this, don't do that, don't do that. I'm like, if all the don'ts are for the teachers, where are the do's? So what do we do there? So I think in the first 3 months, every single day, I said to myself that this is my last day. But then I always remember the words that I read somewhere growing up on a book, I think, by Anne Moody. I don't even know if she still lives, but the book was entitled Coming of Age. And she was talking about that quitters never win and winners never quit. So I always have that in mind in whatever I do. It just followed me everywhere. So I was thinking that if I really just work hard the job, well, I'm a quitter. Therefore, I cannot be a winner. So I stick to it. By the end of the year, it was marvelous. Because what was happening is that culturally, I was not ready to enter a teaching job at a high school. Because there were a lot of differences that I just don't know, that I just didn't know at all. Like they would say, Mr. Mbaye, you were not funny. I said, let me tell you something. Funny is cultural. I can tell you jokes all day long, but if you're not from Senegal, if you do not know what's behind the jokes, the culture behind the jokes, you won't laugh. You can tell me also jokes all day long, but if you do not really understand the culture behind, if I do not understand the culture behind the jokes, I would not laugh at all. What I did was, I started watching African American movies because the school I was at, there was about 95% of the students were African Americans. So watching those African American movies helped me a lot to understand how I should deal with my students. And at the end, everything worked out fine. In 2001, my wife came and had a job in Denver. So I decided to come here and actually just help her settle down, because it was just a temporary job for like 6 months or so that she can come back to join me in Kansas City, Missouri. When I came to Denver, I loved the city. I just fell in love with it ever since I've been here. I worked for about 20 months for a law firm and then started my own business. So ever since, that's the only thing I know. So I'm not really an expert in life to come to talk to you about the topic that was chosen. Life is about choices, not chances. But I guess I'll just share the experience that I have through my business, but also through dealing with the larger community. So what I would like to share with you today is the choices that I think if you make it, you will not leave your success to chance, because I just don't believe in that. We're all responsible for our own lives. I truly believe that, and forgive me because I know some people might not be religious, but I am. I'm deeply religious. So when I talk about God, that's what I mean. So I truly believe that God created us all equal. You and me, there is no difference at all. We had the same potential to make it in life. But at the same time, we're not like anybody else. There is a certain uniqueness in us. There is no other Majama in the world but me. It was one spot, I took it. That's the same thing for each and every one of you. There's only one you. And if you understand that, you just become powerful, because then you really do not need other people's permission to be who you want to be. You see what I'm saying? It does not matter where you come from or what language you speak or who you are. What's important is what's in here. You have to believe in your heart that actually you can do it. Somebody says that faith is not knowing is not knowing that God can, but knowing that He will. So everything that we do in life, we have a very large responsibility. It's not just like things happen to us. If you choose that way, well, that's the path of least resistance. And the people who usually choose that really don't go anywhere. So I just want to name a few that I would like to talk about. Their choices that actually I do believe that if we focus on that, it can help us a long way. It doesn't matter where you are in life. What's important is the end result. You can be down and about today in your life, but if you believe that you can change things, if you believe that you can make it happen, you will always do. When I was in college, I used to be the president of the student body. And what I was always telling people is that there are three types of people in life. Those who wonder what happened, those who watch things happen, and those who make things happen. Throughout my life, I did everything I can or I could to be part of the people who will make things happen. It's just my nature. Like right now, it has become a second nature. Wherever I go, if I see an opportunity, I have to grab it and run with it. Because if you don't do it, nobody else would. Guess what? In this room, maybe most of us are immigrants. And from what I see, we're doing absolutely well. We do not need other people's permission to really let us know where we can, what we can do or what we cannot do. Being an immigrant, speaking with an accent does not mean anything at all. And that's what I've been telling my brother here for the longest that I've known him. You can speak with an accent, but make sense when you talk. Because when you make sense, people will listen. And how do you make sense? Go and read. That's what I always tell people. The only difference between the person you are today and the person you will be in 5 years, guess what? It is the books you read and the people you meet. So make sure you read, make sure you hang out with people that really have some sense that would like to go somewhere. Because if you just hang out with the masses, people who do not want to go anywhere, guess what? That's where you will end up too. So the choices that I would like to talk about today are 6. I mean, by no means this list is exhaustive. It is not complete at all. You can add whatever you want during the conversation. If you want to add something, I would be more than welcome to write them down because I am still learning. We are all students, and a great thinker once said, whoever you meet is your teacher in some way. So I know today, before the end of this gathering, definitely I'll get a lot of knowledge going home because I have met you today. So the number 1 that I would like to talk about is the clear sense of direction. Number 2, number 2 is to keep a burning desire. 3 is to stay focused. Number 4 is to have integrity. Number 5 is to treat people as you would have them treat you. Number 6 is to go the extra mile. I'm even tempted to add the number 7, which is be consistent. So let's talk about having a clear sense of direction. One thing that I usually tell people is that any immigrant who came to America, they had a clear sense of direction in the beginning. They wanted to do something. They wanted to become somebody. Most of us. So when they came here, somehow, somewhere along the line, they dropped the ball. They don't know anymore why they were here. And that might not even apply to you because maybe you are young enough. Like you haven't gone that long yet, even to lose that dream or to lose that sense of direction. But everything that I say is about that. If you do not know where you are going, they say, I just read it, any road will take you there. And I would like to add that even the best GPS system cannot take you anywhere if you do not enter a direction in it. Get in your car, try to get somewhere, have the best GPS ever. If you do not enter a destination, that GPS can't take you anywhere. Life is the same thing. We have to know what we want out of life before we can get it. And what I say is, I mean, if you go to the store, you should know that you were going to buy a suit, or you were going to buy a skirt, or you were going to buy this or that. Because otherwise you cannot come home with that. So that's the same thing. Like what you are doing right now, whether you are a student, whether you are working, whatever you do, you have to have a clear sense of direction, a clear sense of what you want out of life before you can get it. So I guess I'll just leave it up to you, but I know you can extrapolate on that and even add more and more ideas. The second point, as I mentioned earlier, it is to keep a burning desire. I also would like to call it stay hungry. You have to be hungry at something. You have to have a passion before you can go and get it. Because if I know that I want to be, let's say, a doctor, and I start to study, I already know what I want. but it takes the burning desire, because life will test you. It takes a very strong, burning desire for you to keep going when the going gets tough. Because believe me guys, life will happen to you. And it will always happen to all of us. If we are not armed enough with that burning desire, if it is not going well the way we want, we quit. And remember, quitters never win and winners never quit. So no matter what happened, we just need to stay the course. Now, failing is nothing wrong. I see a lot of people like raise up the idea that you can't fail. I beg to differ. I think you can fail and you should fail, because in failure lies a lot of lessons that you can actually learn. The only time the failure is a total failure is if you fail and didn't learn anything from that. But every time you do something and it doesn't work, guess what? You learn one way that doesn't work. I think it was Edison who invented the light bulbs and stuff. Okay, you know, he failed about 10,000 times before he was able to make the light bulb. When they asked him, how did you really keep on going when you failed so many times? He said, no, I didn't fail. I found 10,000 ways that do not work. So I just would like you guys to have the same attitude, because it doesn't matter how you run the race. What's important is the end result. You can get dirty, but get back on the race. You can fall down, dust yourself off, get back on the race, because what's important is the end result. But all of that, it comes from a burning desire. You have to want something so strong that if you do not get it, you can't live. So if you really are at that point, definitely you will get it. Because God, I mean, He's the Almighty. He can do everything. He can make things happen in a way that we can't even imagine. But it all starts here. We have to believe that we can before we can achieve. But I think it was last year I wrote a blog. The title was in Wolof, and I had it also in English. It was Bëgg Gëm Jëf. And it was written by a powerful man in Senegal. He passed away a long time ago, but he was a religious leader who we think was not even knowledgeable because he didn't go to the school as we know it. But what he said, Bëgg Gëm Jëf, and I'll give you the meaning. It is at the basis of every success that you can experience. Bëgg means to love or to want something, to have a very strong desire. Gëm is to believe. You have to believe that you can get what you want. Because no matter how strong is your want, if you do not believe that you can get it, you are right. Henry Ford said the same thing. Whether you believe you can or you can't, you are right. Because everything happens here. So the third one, it was Bëgg Gëm Jëf. Jëf in Wolof means to take action. You can want something very, very bad. You can want an iPad. I really, really, really want this iPad. I believe that I can have the iPad. But guess what? The iPad will never fall on my laps. I have to do something to get it. That's where the third leg comes in. You have to take action. Wanting something is not enough. Believing in something that you can get it is not enough. You have to take action in order to make it happen. So I guess that would lead us to the third point that I wanted to talk about here, which is to stay focused. In America, there are a lot of distractions. A lot. You can get out here. Today is Saturday night. The bars are open until late. Girls are wearing mini skirts. I mean, you're just tempted to go and have a good time. I'm nobody to tell you that's wrong. But what I understand is that if you want something, you have to focus on that thing and that thing only until you get it. You do not want to say, well, I would like to graduate this year, but I don't want to miss any party on campus. It is just not possible. You can't want something and it's opposite. The story that I usually give is that there were two friends in college. You know, both of them very, very intelligent. And then the finals were coming up. At the same time, there was a big party on campus. One of them decided to stay and study. The other one decided to go and party. When the results came in, the one who stayed and studied actually made it. Even made it with flying colors. The guy who didn't want to miss out on the party failed. Can you really say that the first guy is luckier than the second one? I don't think so. They both made choices, but choices have consequences. You just have to be responsible to really accept it. The one who succeeded, it's because he put the price. Everything that you want in life, there is a price. You have to be willing to pay the price. You have to stay focused. And the example that I gave earlier about staying focused is not the only one. Because you can be very determined, but yet you listen to other people give you free advice. Free advice is cheap, but usually it won't take you anywhere. Because there will always be naysayers, there will always be dream stealers. People who will tell you that you can't do this, you can't do that. Who are they to tell you what you can and what you can't do? Remember what I said in the beginning. We are all equal. The only difference today between you and I and Bill Gates is time and effort. That is my personal opinion. There is absolutely no difference whatsoever. Who gives to people? In my humble opinion, in my faith, it's God. So if we ask Him, there is absolutely no difference whether you are white, you are black, you are short, you are tall, you are a man, you are a woman, it doesn't matter. We can ask and we can receive. We are all the same. So what I would like to tell you is never allow anybody to tell you that you can't do something. Most of the time, the people telling you that, they might be even very good friends or even relatives, but deep down, they're just very insecure. They don't want you to go out there and succeed and let them in the rat race. They just want to be with you, hang out with you in whatever their lot is. Refuse. Set goals and try to achieve them. I think honestly that's my personal experience, because as we all know, we are all the sum total of our experiences. Whatever I'm telling you today is not because I'm intelligent or because I know this. I just like to read. For the last 10 years or so, I should say even 20 years, because my first self-development book, I read it back in '91 when I was getting out of high school. That book was Comment se faire des amis in French, in English. How to win friends and influence people. In my opinion, every single being should read that book. Because it's not about winning friends. It's not really, part of it is about influencing people. But what I like to call it is the school of life. Honestly, because it transformed who I am today by reading it. I got a lot of things that today I am still using them. One small example in that book is that you can never criticize anyone unless you find something to praise them for first before you criticize. That's just one example. So if we move to the fourth one, which is really to have integrity. And integrity is doing the right thing when nobody is watching. And I like to share a story here that I really got from Les Brown, who's the big motivational speaker. He said there was a builder. That builder worked for many, many years with one company. But there was time for him to retire. So his boss called him and said, "Can you just build one more house? This would be your last commission." He took the job, but honestly, his heart was not in it. So he didn't really do anything fabulous. So he chose really the very, very weak material. He did not even hire the best capable workers. So the job was not really the best that he could give. But at the end, when the job was done, the boss came and gave him the keys and said, "The house is yours. It is my gift to you." The guy was like, "Man, this is bad." Because now the house is his. He knows that he didn't perform a good job. Had he, known or believed in doing the right thing no matter what, that guy would end up with a beautiful house paid for. But he knew what he did. So I think the moral of the story really is whatever it is. And even in my business, what I always do is the tagline I have is, what is worth doing is worth doing well. It doesn't matter if X is watching or Y will control me. Just do the right thing no matter what. Because guess what? If nobody is there, you have a silent partner who's with you all the time, and he knows. So I guess we'll go to the fifth point, which is to treat people as you would have them treat you. And I think for me, the power in this is what I truly believe, that what goes around comes around. If you cheat, you will be cheated. If you lie, you will be lied to. So if you just go with that in mind, if I want you to be kind to me, I do not have to demand that. I have to show it. Because people respond in kind. If I come across you in the hallway and I smile, usually you smile back. So that's what I mean by people respond in kind. So whatever it is, what you would like to get, you must first give. Give people something good and they will return the favor. People are really, really good at that. At least that's my experience. If Mamadou here was to do something and he knows that I'm always kind to him, he can't be bad to me. Because as they said, you always reap what you sow. What goes around comes around. So this is the golden rule. Treat people as you would have them treat you. And everything I said so far, the 5 points that I listed so far, are choices that we can make. You can have a very clear conscience when you're doing something. It is up to you. I can choose to be nice to you. I can choose to treat you well. I can choose to stay focused. I can choose to stay hungry. All of that, none of it would just happen by chance. You have to make it happen. So that's what I said in the beginning about being part of the people who make things happen and not just wonder what happened or watch things happen. I just have to believe in that. Now, the sixth one, and I think I'll finish here. I don't know if I went over the time. Okay, is to go the extra mile. And by far, to me, this is my favorite because it is the law of nature, and it is called the law of increasing return. When I go the extra mile, it will come back to me multiplied. But also at the same time, understanding that there is no traffic jam at the extra mile. If you work somewhere right now, most of your co-workers can't wait for the time to be up and they leave. If it is 5 o'clock, 4:55, they gathered everything, put it one way, ready to go. What happens to the last 5 minutes? They're stealing it because they will still be paid, but they're not working. What if you choose to stay an extra 15 minutes to do something? The reason why going the extra mile is very important is that wherever you work, if people know that this guy is reliable, no matter what happens, he will stay until everything is done. When there is a downturn in the economy and people are laying off others, guess what? They won't let you go because you are valuable. You add value to your work. You are not just milking the time. I mean, I know what I'm talking about because I do have employees. And I know that some of them, that's actually what they do all the time, milking the clock. But guess what? What I said earlier, that if you lie, you will be lied to. If you cheat, you will be cheated. Sooner or later, they will get that back. So my advice is whatever you do, if it is in business, do not just satisfy the customer, but delight the customer. If you work anywhere, make it a point to do more than you are paid for. And don't expect any return. That's the beauty of going the extra mile, because it is the law that never fails. It is the law of increasing return. What you put out will always come back to the source. So if I do good deeds, those good deeds will come back to me, multiply. Now, I can do this for one boss who's not really caring at all. I'm staying like 5 minutes, and I've seen people who were doing this. They would even clock out at 5 o'clock, but they will come back and stay and finish their jobs. I think it is something absolutely very powerful if you just know how to use it. You have the tools in your hands. And I think, like, personally, going the extra mile is just my thing. In my business, I have done it over and over and over again, but it has never failed me. When I do it, I'm not expecting anything in return. But knowing that it is the law, I don't have to worry about it. Because it might not come directly from the person that I am going the extra mile for, but I know it will come back to me sooner or later. No questions asked. Just my belief. The last but not least is really to be consistent. And here also it is a choice. It is really a choice. Whatever you do, if you do it today and you don't do it tomorrow, you do it the next day and wait 5 days to do it, it will take 100 years, 150 years for you to be good at it. And maybe we don't even have that long to live. But if you focus on something with all your mind and you consistent, for this there is one book that I would recommend. It is called The Slight Edge. In that book, the author, I think it's Jeff Olson, right? He usually talk about the small choices that we make day in, day out. But if we are consistent, it will give us something really big at the end. It's just like you set up a goal, for instance, to lose weight. But like every single day, you go to the gym. Every single day. Even if you only work out 5 minutes a day. But you do it repeatedly every single day. You don't miss any day, you will lose weight. But if you go today, work out for an hour, lift weight and do all these kinds of stuff, and wait 10 days later and go back, you're just wasting your time. Nothing will happen. Those are just, very basic examples that I can give you, but I'm sure you know many others in your personal life that actually you can draw from. So I guess what I would really say when we were talking about this, life is about choices, not chances. When people are calling some other people lucky, what they don't know is that they can build their own luck. Because luck, L-U-C-K, means laboring under correct knowledge.
Laboring under correct knowledge.
That's luck. And any of us can build that. We can actually labor under correct knowledge. But if you see that, then what's really important then? I think the key point in laboring under correct knowledge is knowledge. And that will take us back to where we started. That we have to have a clear sense of direction. We have to know what we want out of life. We have to know where we want to go. We have to know what we want to buy. You have to know before you get. From now on, you understand that you can build your own luck. When somebody is successful, don't just think that they are lucky. I don't believe that at all. They knew that there was a price to pay, and they chose to pay that price. What is that price? It varies from situation to situation. If I would like to become a doctor, I know the price is long hours of study, like length of time in college and all of that. That's the price that I need to pay. So my friends, that's honestly the little knowledge that I just wanted to share with you. It is nothing major, it is nothing big, but it is, there are few points that if we focus on them, we can make things happen. We are on a foreign land, but we don't have to be foreigners in our own mind. Whatever we need today is already in here. The problem is, most of the time when people need something, they look it outside. When something is wrong, you tend to blame other people. But maybe you're the source of that something wrong. If you just take time to think about it, maybe you can find the answer. I read in a book, I think it was a Christian lady. She wrote that if you want something and you are not getting it, look inside. Maybe there is something you need to give out before you can get. And the example she gave is that one of them wanted furniture so bad. And she talked to her and said, well, give away the couch that you have over there. I said, well, how can I do that? I don't have the furniture yet. But I think the idea is, even if you have to make room in order to bring something in. So you have to give, always have to give before you can get. You can say, well, I don't have anything to give. Of course you do. We all do. Because giving does not just have to be financial. I am giving today, right now, my time. I am sharing the little knowledge that God put in me through books. Do you think it's free? No, it is not. I will be paid. Not money, but I know I'm not wasting any time here. Not at all. It is just my personal belief. Whatever you do, what I said earlier, what goes around comes around. And if you serve people, you will be served. It is just a law. I was talking to a pastor the other day. He told me in order for you to belong to the classes, you have to serve the masses. Do you hear that? In order for you to belong to the classes, you have to serve the masses. But if you serve the classes, you will always be in the masses. And most of us, and that is like when we have a job, we're actually serving the classes. We can do that for a long time. And I'm not saying having a job is bad. All I'm saying is there is a lot of freedom in owning your own business. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Majama. And now we have an open discussion.